Hello everyone and welcome to the next episode of Art Side of Life, where I chat with inspiring artists and create various art-related videos. My name is Eva and my guest today is Karly Jade Catto, and in this episode you will learn about why it's important to take care of yourself as an artist and how you can bring more engagement to Instagram.
Instead of just like scrolling on the feed and looking at, oh, I like that, and liking it really fast, actually just looking really, if it catches your eye, looking at it and giving the person a specific compliment about like a really, well-worded compliment that is, sincere about the way they handled the lighting or the colors or something, and think that, just being grateful for them sharing.
Karly is a freelance character designer and illustrator currently residing in Utah. Karly's clients include Hasbro, Abrams Kids, Fisher-Price, Atomic Cartoons, American Girl magazine, and many, many more. She's currently working as a character designer and visual development artist in children's TV animation. So please welcome Karly and let's get to the interview. So welcome everyone to the next episode of Art Side of Life, and I'm super happy to have Karly here. Hi!
Hi!
How are you? How is today?
Things are great. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Perfect.
It's the art life.
So let's just keep the positive vibes, right? And let's just go down back to your background story, and maybe you can share how you got to art and when you decided to take it professionally.
So I guess it kind of starts in high school. I took an art class in junior high in 9th grade. Mm-hmm. And my art teacher was really encouraging. I guess I kind of had a natural talent my whole life. And my parents and just everybody in my family always encouraged me to draw. I never really considered it as a career until college, I guess. But in high school, I took advanced placement art. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they have that.
I think it's different in every school even. Yeah. So in the countries are totally different.
Yeah, it's kind of like a college credit.
Uh-huh.
I know in America, I'm pretty sure it's all over America that they have the advanced placement art, but it was studio art. And so it was more focused on traditional art, not really illustrating like I do now. My art teacher really encouraged me a lot to apply for scholarships and stuff, and even gave all of us extra credit for that. But I applied for a bunch of different schools around Utah. Mm-hmm. I actually grew up in Las Vegas, but my family moved to Utah. Mm-hmm. I was a little bit older, and so I decided to stay kind of more local for school.
So how did you decide to choose the school? Because as you said, local school, and because there are many different options, right? So someone maybe advised you to choose the one, or how did that?
Yeah, my high school teacher, he went to BYU, Idaho, mm-hmm. and he was really trying to get me to go there. And I actually almost did go there because I wasn't originally accepted to BYU, where I ended up going. Mm-hmm. The way I got in was through a talent award, which is basically somebody sponsors you to go to school. They pay for your school and they look at your portfolio and say, hey, I like your art. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pay for you to go to school. But eventually, long story short, my health wasn't very good. Mm-hmm. I was having problems with anxiety and stuff, mm-hmm. super bad. I didn't really know what was going on. I wasn't doing well in school. And so I decided to take a break. Yeah. And that was a couple years ago, 2015. April 2015, I decided to take a break from school. And that's actually when I started taking care of myself and really focusing on what was going on up here. That's mm-hmm. when things started, my art started getting better, because mm-hmm. I think I I was finally able to like figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
And that helped me a lot to grow.
Yeah.
And I, of course, after I left school, I continued to teach myself like with art books and just looking at other artists online. But yeah, that was like, I guess it kind of like actually deciding to become an artist. It just, I don't know, it just kind of came upon me. Because I got that art scholarship and I decided I really liked it. So,
Yeah.
and after I left school, like I said, my art got better. And I mean, the BYU, excellent art school, excellent. I mean, it's not a specific art school, but the illustration program there is amazing. The animation program is amazing too. But it just wasn't for me at the time, with my like mental and emotional problems that were going on. But yeah, so that, and then after my art got better, I was able to get like people just kind of started coming to me for projects, which was really cool.
So, and how did you, or what made you feel better, or what helped you to kind of feel better and kind of just, reflect on your feelings? Or was there some maybe process you were doing, or did you talk to someone who advised you like maybe this will help you? Or did you go for walks in the nature? Or maybe what was the biggest learning from the time to kind of help you get through it?
Yeah, I'm still like going through it. Like, I think anxiety for some people is just kind of lifelong battle, which is, like it's not fun, but it's just, you learn to live with it. But I think what really helped me, I started out like talking to a counselor and just kind of got down to like, oh, what's causing this? And that helped me. But my counselor also recommended some books, which like totally helped. I don't know if you've heard of Brene Brown, but she is like a psychologist. I actually always have her books near me because her books are just so filled with truth. And I don't know, just all of her books are so good.
Oh, perfect. So so people can check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. She's just so smart, like it's emotionally intelligent, and she goes through other people's stories and like people who, I mean, just everybody. It's not like specifically people with anxiety or depression or anything. It's about everybody and how shame and guilt and just things in our lives, just the way that we see things because of how we were raised and the culture we live in, like how those things cause shame or fear and how we can kind of get past those and be creative and just live our lives happily. And Brene Brown that's definitely helped. Also just eating healthier has helped me with that, and just trying to have fun with art instead of like taking myself too seriously. It's been really helpful.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And also, when you mentioned that afterwards people start coming to you with first jobs and just like progress with your art, maybe you can mention like what was your first art job and how did you find it, or how they found you?
Yeah. So my first published art job was for the Friend magazine. It's a children's magazine for the church that I attend. And at that point I was putting a lot of stuff on Instagram, and the art director found me and he's like, hey, I have a little job for you if you're interested. And I was like, oh, cool. So I just got to do a little illustration and I was really excited about it. So yeah, a lot of my contacts have come through Instagram.
And so how do you do your networking now? Do you go also for conventions or something you can mention for our audience? Is it only social media, or maybe some other tips how to make connections in the art world?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things that I do. I like to go to CTN, which you know about, but just in case anybody who's watching this doesn't know about it, it's Creative Talent Network.
Yeah, networking. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it is, networking. Yeah, yeah. So I've been going to that for the past couple of years, and that's been when I've gone. I've kind of just focused on meeting people, and sometimes if I feel like I should share my art with somebody and ask them for advice, I will. But mostly it's just to meet people and just get to be friends with people. Another thing is Instagram. That is probably the hugest thing for me. I like seeing other people's artwork and like seeing other people's stories on Instagram and what they're doing with their lives, and just kind of, feeling like I'm a part of their life, even though they're probably miles and miles away. It's a really fun site to explore. There's so much good content, and it's a good way to meet people. Like another thing is like when you meet them in person at CTN, it's like, oh, hey, we know each other, and you just get to I don't know. It's nice to kind of have that before, like you meet them in person. Another thing is like more locally. There every Friday at the mall there is a sketch lunch, and so a bunch of local illustrators, like a bunch of different people, like people who from all talent levels go there. Like people who just like drawing to people who are professionals that like around here, like I don't know if Jake Parker's ever been when I've been there, but Jake Parker's from around Utah. Mel Milton, I don't know if you know him, but he's around here too. And so I've got to meet some like really cool people and learn from them and just talk with them. And so that's just like a really chill thing that I like to go to when I can. So those are just some of the things that I like to do.
So find something locally which you can hang out with people, or then like talk to others through social media. And do you have like advice with the social media, maybe how to talk to, through people, how to make new friends on social media? Do you have something like maybe this is not that good to do and maybe this like worked out for you?
Well, I think that what helps me most is instead of just like scrolling on the feed and looking at, oh, I like that, and liking it really fast, actually just really intentively looking at somebody's, if it catches your eye, looking at it and giving the person a specific compliment about like a really, well-worded compliment that is, sincere about the way they handled the lighting or the colors or something, and think that, just being grateful for them sharing. Because I don't know, maybe for some people it's really easy for them to share art, but I think most people have a hard time sharing their art. They're afraid that it's not going to get as many likes, or it's not going to do as well, even though you really like it, and so I know that it means a lot to me when I get comments like that.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That always makes me want to, look at their stuff too, and support them as well, no matter who they are.
That definitely makes sense. Because as well, like if there is like beautiful flow of the hair or the character, or I like the green shoes or whatever it is, then then you know that the person actually cares, and then you make the better connection. Definitely. And so if you think about maybe like a lot of people ask about developing art style, and personal branding, and that can be also like abstract terms, but what are your thoughts maybe on the art style and the branding of the artists, how they present themselves?
I think it's something that's really important to do. There is an artist that went to the same school as me who emailed me recently, and she asked me for some advice. She said she's a senior in the program and feels kind of lost. And she's like, oh, she has a class that talks about that really just pushes branding and having your own voice and style. And she's worried because she, wasn't feeling like she knows where she's going or what her voice is. And I completely understand that. Like, I mean, I think that there is a push. It is important to have a brand, to have a specific voice, because people are looking, people who are hiring you are looking for somebody who knows who they are as an artist. They want to look at your work, your body work, and know what they're going to get if they ask you for something. So that's important. But that being said, I think it's just important to be kind to yourself and just take things slow and just, pay attention to what you like as an artist. Like what, I like Jake Parker because of this, or I like Mick Park because of this. You got to figure out what little things you like about a certain artist and kind of take those things, break them down, and make your own thing.
Yeah.
That really helps, just figuring out what you like and chasing those things and making them a part of your work. And it'll happen over time, and you'll eventually find your voice, and your voice might change depending on your point in your life. But yeah, it's important. It's just,
yeah,
I don't
definitely.
know. People
agree.
need to just, slow down, it's okay. Don't freak yourself out. You can do it.
Yeah, because I believe that it's not only about the art style as well, and it's the person as well behind the art or whatever. So if you kind of show like what you do, as you mentioned, like in the stories, what the person does in the free time, and so people can fall in love in their personality as well as with your art, so that kind of can create the whole brand. Because that's why also people watch Jake Parker, because they love how he talks as well, how he explains things. So I think that's both things. So you said it really well, I think.
Oh, thanks.
And when you draw and create your own creations, is there something you always want to communicate, or also do you have specific tools you cannot live without, like, okay, this is my favorite brush or favorite program?
Yeah. So as far as tools go, I really love my iPad. I have the big, can't remember the measurements, but the big iPad Pro, and then the Apple Pencil. Like, I love the portability of it, and how the pencil works with the screen. It's so satisfying. And so I love those. And my favorite brushes on the Procreate program, that's the program I use to draw. The one I can think of right now is Shale Brush. It's kind of cool because, I think it's meant for like hand lettering. So it kind of snaps into place, if that makes sense. You'll be making a line, but it'll kind of straighten it out a little bit. So it's kind of an interesting feeling, and it kind of makes my drawings turn out differently, which I'm always trying to figure out some other way to draw or sketch. So I like that one right now. And then what was the question?
About the vision, or like the feeling, what you are communicating with your artworks.
Okay. When I was a kid, I was really inspired by like magazines, especially American Girl magazine. There were like a bunch of different crafts in there and cute illustrations and quizzes and stuff, and they had art contests and stuff. Anyway, I just was so excited every couple months when I got that in the mail. I was so excited to see what was inside and look at the art. And I don't know, I guess I want to bring that excitement to other people when I post my art. I I don't know. I love I love kids so much, and they're just such a good example of wonder and just curiosity. And I want to be better at expressing that through my art. And that's kind of what my favorite thing to do is like children's editorial and children's stories, because I just want to help inspire them to keep their imagination going, like artists when I was a kid, helped me out. So I guess I want to inspire people, but I don't know. I honestly think kids are the best and they deserve everything good. So I want them to be a big audience of mine, like as far as through like editorial and children's books. So
yeah, the curiosity and the imagination of kids is amazing. Yeah. Before we continue, let's take a little break because many of you have been asking me about recommendations for different tools and resources to help you out with many different things like studying, finding inspiration, overcoming artistic block, managing your time, and freelance. So I decided from now on in the episodes I will share with you some of my favorite things which help me a lot, and I'm sure they can help you out too. So let's go take a look. So the first one is Audible, which is the largest audiobook store out there with more than 100,000 audiobooks. And I love listening to stories and learning from books, and even if you are not a book reader, this is a great way to get the knowledge and advice from books just by listening. It would be a shame to miss out on all the great tips if you just don't like to read. I usually listen to audiobooks while I'm traveling, doing housework, or painting. It's very relaxing and I learn a lot. What is awesome, you can get free 30 days trial, which is like getting free books. So try it out for yourself and go to artsideoflife.com/audible. The next one is for all the freelancers and studio owners out there. It's called FreshBooks, and it's an invoice and accounting software that is super easy to use and significantly cuts your time needed for invoicing, getting paid, tracking expense, time tracking, and making proposals. Great part about this is that with few clicks you can export all important data for your tax declaration too. And you can get a free trial 30 days to test it out for yourself too. So go to artsideoflife.com/freshbooks. The last one is Trusted House Sitters, and as you maybe already know, I love traveling to refresh my inspiration and avoid art blocks, but my budget doesn't allow it so often. Fortunately, I discovered Trusted House Sitters website, where you can do the pet sitting and live for free like a local. I love dogs and cats and all kinds of animals, so it's great win-win. In this way, it's only about buying a flight ticket or travel there by car. Accommodation is for free and you can have great fun with animals, and you can also draw them and practice your animal anatomy skills. It also works for those of you who have pets and are looking for pet sitters to be able to travel. So check it out at artsideoflife.com/THS. You will find more artistic resources, tips, and tools used by me or mentioned in the interviews at artsideoflife.com/resources. So go check it out. And just to let you know, some of the links are affiliate links, which means I will get paid a small commission if you decide to purchase through them, but at absolutely no added cost to you. And in this way, you get a chance to support Artside of Life, which I really appreciate. And now, let's go back to the interview. And if you create something new, or when you are starting a new project, what is your thinking process, or maybe how long does it take? Do you plan ahead, or maybe if you can take us through the biggest steps of your, maybe a research, or do you do thumbnails, or do you do sketchbook, or kind of the whole image of your project making?
Yeah, so it really depends on the project. If it's a project that I've been given by a magazine or a publisher or something, then usually they'll have the idea already, or when they do, they'll give me a couple sample images, like, hey, this is how it could be. Here's a layout that you could consider. Here are some references that we really like, or here's the specific style that we've seen you do that we want you to incorporate in this project. So I'll start there with what they gave me, but I also, you can probably see in the background, I have a bookshelf. Like all of those are art books and like children's
Oh, cool.
books.
So many.
Yeah, so I look at those if I feel stuck on something. And if there's some, I have a pretty good knowledge of human anatomy, but if there's any animals or anything involved, I'm a little bit less experienced with that. So sometimes I'll like go on YouTube and watch videos instead of looking at like Google Images, because I don't know, I get a better sense of the movement of the animal, and I can like translate that more into my character, make it more believable.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I use a lot of different resources, but a lot is YouTube and my art books that I have. And sometimes, I mean, a lot of times I like to thumbnail, like if it's a full illustration, I'll thumbnail it. But a lot of times they'll ask me to, when I'm doing a children's book, they'll have me do characters first. And I just go through a bunch of different characters, different shapes and everything. But yeah.
So what does your, maybe the characters and the environments and storytelling, what does it make it the best they can be from you? Is there something like a specific tip, like this is, which I believe is making them special? So like what makes them choose me, or is that what you're... Yeah, just like how can you make the characters always better and improve, and this kind of the specific emotion, like
Okay.
which everyone, as you mentioned as well, like when they look at it, it's like, yeah, this is perfect, or like always better.
Yeah. Oh, I get what you're saying. So honestly, just getting feedback from other people helps me. But a lot, I always go back to like seeing how other artists have solved the problems, like how it's like, wow, they've got this character in this environment that somehow this environment, like this leaf still like matches this character somehow, even though it's a leaf, and just looking at how it can be cohesive, like keeping a style cohesive and shape language and everything and colors. I think that's what really makes it, is making sure like the colors, the shapes, the values and everything, just making sure all of that comes together and tells the story. And there are a lot of resources out there, like a lot of books out there that, just that people have already done that you can look at and you can see how, oh, wow, that's how they do it. So it's nice.
Some specific book maybe comes to mind, some good reference or resource you like?
Oh, geez, there's lots. So this one is Planet Kindergarten. I love this one. It's like, I collect children's books because sometimes there's some that are just so smart with the way they illustrate. This one's almost like a comic book in a way. It's illustrated by Shane Prigmore, and looks like he worked on Coraline, Iron Giant, How to Train Your Dragon. So just like a lot of, very good things.
So why do you like this one the most? Because of the colors, layout, or details?
Well, it's so many things. Yeah, it's like, I think it kind of reminds me of, what is that called? So like back in like the space age, like the 50s and stuff, like that kind of illustration, like the just sharp angles, and it's also kind of spacey. It's like about this, I don't know, it's got so many good colors and shapes, and they all work together, and it's just so fun.
Oh, perfect.
But yeah, if you look it up, it's just insanely good. Every single shape and color just is so right.
So it's kind of simplified as well, so the story works together with shapes and colors, as you mentioned. Also the like details like leaves, so they're part of the story.
Yeah, like, and even trash cans, you know, like just even like little props you wouldn't even think to like like really put attention into. He's designed so well, and I don't know, it's a cute story too, because it's about this kid who's going to kindergarten and he's kind of afraid to go, but his imagination is like making it like he's going to another planet, and you know, it's super adorable and it's genius.
Yeah, so there is something also relatable to like real life, and then there is some fantasy element to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you mentioned as well these shapes and other things like what helps the character stand out, would you consider this is like the most influential thing you learned in your specific field? Or was there something else, like was it maybe color and light you kind of like this is my aha moment, or was it mostly the shapes and layouts and characters as you mentioned?
Recently I've been more of like a character designer for children's television animation, and with that, as a character designer, it is the more they want to see your character design than like an environment where that would be more of an illustrative thing, or if you're a background designer or whatever. But as a character designer, it is very important to have clear shapes, to be able to tell what the character is. Even if you just black out the figure, you can tell from the silhouette what that is. So I would say shapes are everything as a character designer, but as an illustrator, it is important both like making the background and the characters interact very successfully, like in the same shape language and everything. So
definitely. And so if you think about now about your day and how many maybe hours a day do you draw, or kind of how does your normal day looks like? Do you have some specific, you know, rituals you do every day which contributes to your success?
Yeah. So my what keeps me like sane from going completely crazy is every morning, like I'm a religious person, so I pray and I read my scriptures, and maybe that's not for everybody, but for me it's like it helps me get in the right mindset. It calms me down, and then I take some time to plan my day or even my week. Just kind of outline what I need to do. The planner I use is like, it's saved my life. It's Passion Planner. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, but I know it.
Yeah, it's completely awesome. And for those who don't know, like it has every week it has like this little challenge, like a quote and a little thought or something you can do, like it, you know, be thankful this week, and write so-and-so, like write a bunch of people like thank you notes, or, you know, just stuff to get you outside of yourself. And to, I don't know, it's a nice refresh every week to have something to focus on, and it helps you plan your time, and it helps you get to where you want to go with certain projects. It's really well designed, and the person who owns like who founded the Passion Planner is like super cool, and she's like 27 or something. She's so young and she's just so cool, and she's such an inspiration. So like, anyway, I just really love what she's designed. So I use that as well. So my days kind of, I usually draw from anywhere from 6 to 10 hours a day, whether it be just working on developing my skills, or if I have a project. Sometimes it can go into like 12 or 14 hours, just depending on when deadlines are. So
yeah. Definitely. And so do you set also goals like maybe a year in advance or a month in advance, as you mentioned, and then you break it down into days? Or do you go mostly day by day, like, okay, this is what I have to do today based on the project?
Yeah, so my schedule is always changing. So I do try as much as I can to have, especially with the format of the Passion Planner, that really is my guiding light, actually, like that keeps my mind from falling apart. It at the beginning of the planner, it has like goals you can set like 3 months in advance, a year, 3 years, and lifetime, like whatever you want to do. And then you can just break those things down. And of course, like I don't like, there are some projects that I know will last for 6 months, or there's some projects that I don't even know are coming. And so I do take it day by day, but I also try to plan in advance for what could be coming potentially that year. So I don't get overwhelmed or anything. I try to just plan something every morning and make sure I'm on track for whatever's coming in the next week. Just plan for that day specifically.
Yeah, definitely. And I also wanted to ask you about, like, is there something you wish you knew before, starting, like advice to young self?
Oh, I guess some good advice would be to just slow down. I've always I don't feel like an overachiever, but I feel like I have the mindset of an overachiever or a perfectionist, and it's so important to not have this perfectionist mindset. It is so detrimental to your growth. I guess, these are not my words. These are Jake Parker's words. Like, just, finish something. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just finish it. And I would add to that, just take your time and be patient with yourself and kind to yourself. Like, that's what I would say to myself a couple years ago, because I just felt like I needed to do everything. And then I was upset because I couldn't do everything. And that's just, it's not fair to expect of anybody. So.
Because it's just taking it day by day, because we cannot expect to be as good as someone who is working on it for 15 years, right? So exactly. It can be a bit stressful, exactly. And what about you and future plans? What would like to work maybe on, like in 10 years, like if you cannot fail, like a dream scenario?
It's hard to say, because I feel like I could be happy doing a lot of different things. I know that's probably, I hear so many people tell me you need to have specific goals about what you want to do. You need to be so specific. And I'm like, well, I feel like I could be happy doing so many things. But honestly, I think it would be so much fun to work at a big studio like DreamWorks or Disney or Pixar, because I know that they have opportunities for you to learn, like I recently finished reading Creativity Incorporated by Ed Catmull. And he talks about Pixar and how they have a bunch of different classes, like not just art classes, but just different dancing classes, which I'm not a dancer, but like they have those things there that are just random. Or if they want to learn how to, play badminton or tennis or something, I don't know, just random stuff. I just think that it'd be so cool to have that environment of constant learning that's at your fingertips. You can make that for yourself, but it would be nice to be around other people.
Other creative people,
other than just freelancing and being in my room by myself, drawing all day. It'd be nice to be among people, and I think that it would be such an awesome opportunity. I think if I'm trying to be specific, I guess I would choose Pixar. Because I just love their stories. So I think that would be my dream, is working at a studio. like that.
Because you mentioned that you after school you directly went for freelance, right? You didn't work in a studio.
No, I have done freelance work for a couple animation and gaming studios, with character design and development and stuff like that. But it's like over Skype. It's never been like
on the location. Because
So,
definitely I think that's one of the advantages of being in a studio or in a company, that you have the creative people around you, as you mentioned, because of course both things have advantages and disadvantages, but I think this is the one where you are like around creatives, and you mentioned the classes. That's perfect.
yeah, I think I would really thrive in an environment like that. So I think that's what I would probably shoot for if I really had to choose.
And what about like really far, far future and like maybe 100 years? What would you like to be remembered for?
You know what? I think I'm going to go back again to talking about like my childhood with American Girl magazine, and also movies were a huge thing too. Disney movies, just any animated movie, or just any movie, I guess. Those stories really touched my heart. So I want to. I don't want to be famous. Like, that's not what I'm asking for, but I would, at least the people who knew me, like my friends and family, and I guess if I were talked about generations down, I guess I would want to be remembered for the stories that I told through characters or through different illustrations that I've done, and just who I was as a person, not necessarily just my artwork, but I want to be like actually a good person and a good friend, and I want that to show through my art, because I know there are some people who are good, like really good people, and it shows through their art, and they have so much love for their family and stuff. An artist that comes to mind right now is Pascal Campion. His art just is filled with goodness, and I want to have a similar effect to people. So
yeah, definitely, because you can already feel the emotion as well from the artworks, and when you look at something you are like oh.
Yeah.
So that's perfect, definitely. And if you can share maybe the last piece of advice or key takeaway before we say goodbye, and then we will slowly finish.
Okay. I guess the best advice that I could give is to take care of yourself. That has been like so that's helped me so much. Because when you take care of yourself in whatever way, if you're having problems mentally or physically, emotionally or otherwise, if you're not doing well in here, then you're not going to be doing well on your paper, or when you're drawing or whatever you're doing. It's going to show through. Your art will suffer if you don't take care of yourself, and I am living proof of that. Like, my art has improved so much over the past couple of years, not just because of practice, but because I've taken time to understand my emotions and understand like what's getting in the way of me progressing. Just make sure that you take care of yourself, because it affects the quality of your work if you don't.
Yeah, and everything what you do, I totally agree. Yeah, because also like if I don't exercise or whatever, then I feel stressed and then I don't do anything. And
exactly. Exercise is huge, and I wish it wasn't I wish I could go without it, but it's so important. It helps your brain so much, and
exactly. Yeah, because sometimes even when I don't feel like it, like I don't want to do it, and then afterwards, like even if you do like half hour, then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I know, it changes everything. Or like drinking water, that helps too.
Yeah, just small things. Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much again for sharing your art story and all the art tips. It was super nice.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. This is a great program, and I'm so honored to be on here.
So thank you so much again. It was definitely my pleasure, and thanks everyone who joined today as well, and see you in the next episode.
Bye, Eva.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe because I post new videos every week. I will be also super happy if you let me know your thoughts in comments and give the video a thumbs up. You can find all the resources mentioned in this episode at artsideoflife.com. Just type a guest name in the search bar. There is also a couple of free artist resources ready for you. So if you want to listen to the interviews on the go too, make sure to check out the podcast at artsideoflife.com/podcast. Continue to inspire each other, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!